running, never stopping when you feel you're getting nowhere.
The doctor is in.
Oh, yeah, the doctor is in, and we are glad to be here. But now I have been joined by the lovely and talented Amber Cammack. Oh, yeah, well, we're really glad you can make it. Of course, you told me you were up on I-45, and I knew that was trouble.
Oh, yeah, it's all kinds of trouble, and we've got all kinds of trouble going on in spring with Mark Herman's lack of policing in the area. We've had in the past 6 months, and I just pulled the numbers actually on my way over here so I could have the exact numbers. It's anyways, we've had 838 children. Well, some of those were adults. I'm sorry, I can't say only children. 838 missing persons reports filed just in Spring, Texas alone.
And in what period of time again?
In the past 6 months.
In the past 6 months, 800, over 800.
Yeah, 838 exactly. And there's 2 zip codes over there. I just pulled 2 zip codes.
And that's assuming that they all got reported, because there's probably more. Because let's face it, there are people that disappear that, unlike you and I, really don't have contact with other people that much, or at least not with people that know us, and they go away and nobody even knows they were gone.
Exactly. I run across children all the time, or parents, you know, that have missing kids just on the streets looking for other children, and their children's missing and they're not in the system because Mark Herman's guys, his deputies, do not know how to enter in an NCIC file. Which basically it's
now tell people what that is, because not everybody lives in the world that you live in.
Okay, sorry. NCIC file is something that the police are supposed to do within like the first 15 minutes of a child going missing, whether it's reported as a runaway or you know, actual, you know, like an abduction of a 4-year-old. NCIC is a national database that allows, you know, everybody to know, other law enforcement agencies, that this person's missing. So if they show up at, like, say, a homeless shelter, or, you know, some show up on National Center of Missing Exploited Children's radar, if you run them through NCIC, they will show up in the system. It allows other police departments to put hold orders on these children so they can basically get them. But without the NCIC file in the system, no one knows they're missing. No other organizations are not alerted. And Herman, more times than not, I've noticed that they do not. I guess it's about 2 weeks is their time before an NCIC file is completed. Like I said, and it's just literally like typing in the names, you know, report writing, which they kind of lack the skill of report writing over there too. I mean, I'm not being ugly. I mean, but like, I know whenever I went, you know, in criminal justice.
That is a failure of the public school, Amber. That's not specifically a failure of the police department. There are no educated people to hire. Okay, I gotta.
I mean,
sad,
even in their 10-month training as a constable, I mean, in that block, I mean, half of that is supposed to be report writing, or it used to be, you know, because that is the most important part of a police officer's job, is documenting things correctly. These guys are evidence collectors, but Herman's getting the reputation as evidence loser. I mean, literally, I mean, they're losing everything. They don't. It's not the deputy's fault. Honestly, it's Herman's fault, because he knows these guys aren't trained and he's throwing them on the streets. They're not trained in human trafficking. I wouldn't expect them to know, you know, if they've never been taught. But at the same time, if you're a precinct 4 deputy, tell your boss that you need to know how to put in an NCIC file. At minimum, we need that, guys.
That's the National Computerized Index of Criminal Justice Information, NCIC, Computerized Index of Criminal Justice Information.
And it's so important, like so important.
It is. And to answer a question here in the chat room, there are approximately 55,000 people in the city of Spring. So it actually does register as a percentage. 0.02% of the people have gone missing in this period of time. And that's a fairly substantial number for a very small metropolitan area of 55,000 people.
It's
Amber?
only 2 zip codes. It's like 3 neighborhoods put together for, it's a suburb of Houston. So, I mean, think if we were to pull the actual numbers for the city of Houston, That's actually a nicer area, one of the nicer suburbs of Houston.
Yes, it is.
You know, a lot of, well-to-do families in there that their children are basically being put through hell. They're being, the thing is with our justice system and our juveniles, it's like they're not offering anything in the constables, and even sheriff's deputies' defense. Like I said, they're not trained. I had one, bless his heart, I can't remember his last name, but we were dealing with last week a missing girl. And I asked if the NCIC file was in because I was having to consult with another police department, and they said that they couldn't pull it up. They weren't pulling it up. And so he looked at me and he told me he didn't know how to do the NCIC file. Well, I respect the honesty. Yeah, no, I respect.
Well, no, it's great.
I mean, yeah, because it didn't waste a lot of time. And
please, Miss Privately Employed Civilian, will you show me how to do my work?
Exactly. That's what I kind of just told him. I'm like, okay, well, there's usually an authorization code that goes with it, but they're supposed to have these.
You got to get close to that mic.
Okay. Anyways, the supervisor on, duty is supposed to oversee these, but ultimately they're supposed to go in the system immediately. But no, he didn't know how to do it. But I respected the fact that he was the supervisor and he told me he didn't know how to.
Well, that's nice.
But at the same time, I told him he better get Herman on the boss. His boss or Herman or whoever it was.
You mean you're not talking about Mark Herman, the head constable of Precinct 4?
Oh, yeah, no, the head constable of Precinct 4. I had a trafficking victim, 15 years old, and, consulting with another law enforcement agency. We needed their help. They were willing to follow up on some tips that we had, pretty credible tips, yet they couldn't do it without the NCIC file. They had no record of her being missing. Now, mind you, when I said 838 children, this also does not include the school district. The children going missing off school grounds. So I know for a fact Klein High School had 245.
Well, isn't Klein High School, isn't that the one where there's like a hotel right in the general vicinity with a lot of...
It's actually Spring High School.
That's Spring High School, okay.
Both Klein High School and Spring High School, these children and the two zip codes that I'm naming these numbers go to either or, one of the two schools, and they've got a problem, but yeah, it's right beside Spring High School. Like I said, the 245 that went missing, that Klein ISD police are handling now, school cops handling missing persons. Out of one of those, he's a foster child. His name, gosh, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. It's Jesus. Gosh, let me get it real fast. I'm sorry, we have so many of them. Anyways, Jesus, basically a special needs child. He's 17 years old, went missing a couple months ago, and he's a foster child. You haven't seen him on the news. They have him listed as a runaway. This is a kid that, is diagnosed with autism when he was 10 years old. So,
some of what I know about foster homes, I can see why a child might run away from a foster home.
Yeah. Well, 245 of those children are from a CPS shelter right there by Klein High School. I do know that. It's in the zip code 77388. If you just Google CPS shelter, I forgot the name of it, in the zip code, Spring, Texas 77388, you'll pull it up. 245 of those children have come from there in the past 3 months.
Wow.
So, I mean...
Well, you would think that some of what we've been talking about here would have an effect, but Amber, I just went to the Missing Persons Department for Mark Herman, Constable of Precinct 4. And he's on the ball over there. They've got 2 children missing. Two. And one of them is Faith Stewart, 18-year-old black female. And the other one is Alexandria Lowitzer.
Okay, let me clarify. Alexandria Lowitzer is not his case. And that Faith Stewart, that's an old case. That child was found a long time ago. Well,
now you can't. Are you telling me that Mark Herman has got pictures that are years old? And in the case of Faith Stewart, she's been found and the picture's still up. And of course, for Allie Lowitzer, you guys know the name. We talk about her all the time. She's been missing for 7 years, I think.
Exactly, and he hasn't held that case. I mean, Precinct 4 Constable's office hasn't held that case in at least 5 years.
Well, they don't even have an old picture of her. And of course, you said it's not their case. But my point is here, Mark Herman claims to have a missing persons department. We know that in one particular situation, a meeting that you were at, he had actually sent some of his people over there to talk about their missing persons department.
Yes, he has Deputy Castro.
Come close. Yeah.
A constable, ticket writer, basically. No missing persons experience is his human trafficking / quote unquote missing persons specialist.
Deputy Castro.
Yeah, Deputy Castro. She has all of 11 years writing tickets, to everybody on Cypress Wood. So they show up to tea parties, they show up to homeowners association meetings, and she gives this spill of BS, literally. They literally lie about the numbers, the crime statistics. Everything that I'm giving you, I can verify with case numbers and addresses and the whole 9 yards. So if anybody wants that verified. But bottom line is, there is no missing persons department. They have the deputies. Every now and then they'll say, oh, well, a deputy, just a regular street deputy, which is better than nothing, are going to handle the case. But they don't know how to work a missing persons case. They don't even know how to put an NCIC file in. And
they don't even know how to put up a picture of a recent missing persons on their missing persons page at the constable's office, which is cd4.hctx.
That hasn't been
.net.
Couldn't have been updated in 5 years, because they haven't held Allie's case in 5 years, and they don't even, like you said, don't even have a photo of her up, but they have nowhere to even call in a tip if you do find one of these children.
Yeah, Frank just said the reason they're going to Tea Party meetings is they're photographing all the license plates so that they can know who are members of the Tea Party. That, I'm pretty sure, is the truth. But yeah, here we have a situation where we've got these missing people, and right there in the middle of Mark Herman's constable division, 836, and
838.
838 in a relatively short period of time, and he's got 2 5-year-old pictures up on his site.
Exactly, and that doesn't include the 13 attempted abductions in those 2 zip codes either, in his area.
Oh my God!
13 attempted abductions or attempted kidnappings reports were filed. 13, and this is like I said, a very small area. It's only 2 zip codes, 77373 and 77388. Or those are the 2 zip codes I ran for Spring, Texas. So I know there's, other zip codes in there that neighbor it, but those are, the brunt of it.
In an area with an approximate population of 55,000. This is huge. It's a real serious problem.
Well, we've had kids die. We've had, just this year, I know of 3. These are kids that go to Spring High School and Klein ISD, and it seems at minimum the school ISD police, that somebody would make a stance against this. We have kids that are being trafficked all over the state, coming right here from Spring, Texas. Our children are being lured. They're being preyed on. These numbers don't include the sexual assaults that have happened in the trails, in the woods. That's up to 62.
Wow.
A lot of those juveniles. And yet Herman's not making this public. The public needs to be made aware of this. Our kids are in danger.
And he's not returning my calls.
Of course
and he's got this picture of him on 740 KTRH, news, making it appear like he's responsive to the public. But I've called and asked him to come on the show several times to, diffuse, defend, or explain the error in our ways, and he's refused to do it.
It's not even, this is about our kids, at least let us watch our own backs. These parents are being blindsided because people don't know, and that's why, I love this show, this radio show. I can at least reach people, and, hopefully, that will save one kid, because a parent will know what to do. Like I said, these are 838 kids since December. That's horrible. That's a
huge number.
Yes, and I can know the cases that I personally dealt with. We found them this year. Spring and Klein ISD students. Being sold to cops in Austin. One, thank God, she was sold to an undercover deputy in Austin, and Like I said, thank
Which
God.
I hope returned her because unfortunately,
Yeah, exactly.
some of them get sold to cops maybe, and we never hear from them again.
Exactly. Austin PD.
I hate to say that. Look, I'm sorry. I don't hate cops. Okay, somebody asked me if I hate cops. I don't hate cops.
Well,
What I hate are road pirates.
Well,
and
these aren't cops. They're criminals, just like anybody else. I hate criminals. I hate people preying on our children. And what the worst type of criminal is the type that carry the badge and allow drug dealers to pay them off and
Yes.
turn their head. So, and this is what's going on. I mean, human trafficking, Doc, would not exist with technology these days if we had up to par law enforcement. We don't make number one in Houston. We are number one, guys, in Houston, and you know, which that includes the suburbs. In the United States, number one for human trafficking. It's not because our police are, you know, working these cases, and we have kids dying. I mean, kids just like your kids, suburban kids. I mean, just since the short time we've had this show on, I mean, you've heard cases of the nurse's kid, the the cop's kid, the regular, Monday through Friday 8 to 5 office personnel. I mean, you name it. I mean, everybody's kids are in danger. I mean, missing persons does not discriminate, and that's bottom line. But the police thing sure does.
I wanted to talk to somebody in the missing persons department. Can you transfer me there?
We don't have a missing persons department.
Oh, we have it now?
I'm sitting here looking at this is the Precinct 4 Constable's office, correct?
It is.
Okay, I'm looking at your website. I'm looking at your website right now.
Okay.
And I clicked on the missing persons link on the CD4 website.
Okay, let me see. I haven't been on our website. So it says, is it on online services?
Well, this is www.cd4 for presumably Constable District 4
Okay.
.hctx.net.
Okay, yeah, I'm on the missing person website. There's a picture of a lady on the left, and there's no other picture on the other side.
Yeah, the picture of Faith Stewart. Of course, Faith Stewart is no longer missing. She has been found some years back. Allie Lowitzer is still missing. We don't know where she is. She's been missing for 7 years. But I was just listening to a lady on the Amazing Doc Greene show, and she said that there have been some 838 missing people in that area in the last 6 months. And she also told me she was at a Tea Party meeting, and the constable's office had sent someone out there to talk about their missing persons department. Do you remember the name of the lady that...
Castro.
Yeah, Miss Castro. Deputy Castro, I guess, or Constable Castro, who would come out and talk about the missing persons
they're
department.
special investigative people. Do you want me to transfer you to her?
I mean, is she missing persons? I mean, you say special investigator. I mean, we just need a spot to call in a tip. Like, who do we call if we know, with a trafficking tip or, a missing persons tip?
Oh, okay. For tip line, okay. Now I understand that. Okay, so you have to go through our regulatory and human trafficking division. And I will transfer you to Miss, that's Investigator Castro.
Do you have a phone number for them so we can start warning the public? We've got 837 missing reports just in our area, and so next homeowners association meeting, I would like to bring this up. And so, do you have a direct line of where I can tell these parents to call for help, for police assistance?
If they have information, they can call our number directly, and we'll send an officers out or whatever they need to do.
Okay, but you mentioned a human trafficking department. Who would be in charge of that?
In charge of that would be Lieutenant Schmidt.
Lieutenant Schmidt?
Yes.
Okay, how do we get a hold of Lieutenant Schmidt?
I can transfer you to his extension, or I can give you the number for the main line in that building. They work right off of our another office, which is not that far from our location. Okay. And then they can possibly provide you a direct line where this could be done.
Okay.
Well, if I could have the number and if you transfer me, I would appreciate it.
Okay, so the number would be 281-401-6225. That is the main number for that office secretary for all around.
Okay. Now the street deputies, last time we called, the police regarding a missing girl, they said they didn't handle it. I keep getting the runaround, and so we just need to figure out who handles missing persons. I mean, they said they don't handle it.
Okay, let me transfer you to patrol office and ask for a supervisor who may give you that information because they are in the other office next to us. Let me transfer you and ask for a supervisor.
Okay.
Okay? Hold on.
When we return to the line.
At least they admitted
As you
not
can
having a missing persons department. Like I said, props for the honesty, I guess.
Call from Mark Herman's office.
Hi, Doc Greene here. I was told that you have a Lieutenant Schmidt in the Human Trafficking Department. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. We're trying to figure out who you call if you got a problem. I'm on your website right now, cd4.hctx.net,
Yes.
and I click on the missing persons link, and it takes me to a page, but you've only got one picture there, and that girl was found some time back, and the other picture and the other person listed does not have a picture.
Okay.
But, we're trying to figure out there have been over 800 people that have disappeared in CD4 just in the last 6 months, and we're trying to figure out who's in charge, who's watching out for me.
Yeah, we're the missing persons department. Who's handling these cases, and exactly who is handling human trafficking over there? I mean, the last homeowners association meeting y'all had for Postwood, it was Castro said she was. Well, now we're getting a Smith. So is it Castro or Smith?
Is it Castro or who?
Is it Deputy Castro or Smith that we need?
Lieutenant Schmidt.
Lieutenant Schmidt is her lieutenant. Castro is the human trafficking deputy. Like, she handles all of the human trafficking. But there's a team of them that do it together. I'll transfer you over to Meadowfern. Hold on just a moment.
Thank you.
We return to the line.
It's good to know there's a team.
Yeah.
There's a team. This is not a single person.
If we were pulled over in a traffic stop and we were to give, in this type of information like they'd given, like for instance, we would be considered a liar. For instance, they stood up at a tea party and all these homeowners association meetings saying it's...
Here it comes. Any second now.
We will get a voicemail.
You've reached Investigator Fallon. I'm either on the phone or away from my desk. Please leave me a name, number, and a brief message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.
I'll record your message at the tone. When you're finished, hang up or stay on the line for further options.
Hi, Deputy Fallon. I'm sure you remember me. This is Amber Cammack once again. I have some more human trafficking information, and I've been waiting for Deputy Castro for the past year and a half to give me a call back regarding this information. I have all our emails, you've said multiple times she would call me, and I'm literally still waiting after a year and a half. So if you can have one of them call me, either Lieutenant Smith or Castro. My number is 936-648-7222.
Yeah, I decided not to let that number go out because...
Well, that number is out anyways. That's the tip line number. That's where you can... That's my work number.
Okay, I didn't want you getting a bunch of crank calls, Amber.
Oh, it's like welcome to my world. I get crazy calls all day long. I don't sweat the little stuff, but no, Fallon, I was told that she was fired after she almost got Mark Hamilton killed. First off, she didn't put in an NCIC file back when Star Hamilton went missing. She had been missing months and months, and literally due to her lack of policing, and she put his life and her life in danger.
Sorry about that.
And they told me, the constable's office told me,
Hello, I was trying to reach a Lieutenant Smith or a Deputy Castro.
Okay. Hold on, please. Which one would you like me to put you through to?
Well, whichever one is most available, because so far, every time I call, I get an answering machine.
Okay. All right. Hold on, please.
Thank you.
And you are?
Doc Greene.
And they know you've talked to them before or no?
Yes, we have.
Okay, sure. Hold on.
I hope y'all are...
Mark Hamilton and I were, that's the dad of a missing girl, we were both told that Fallon was fired, that she was no longer in the department, or, and then someone else told us she moved over to the sheriff's department, but because...
All right, no one answers. Castro doesn't answer, so I'm going to put you through to Lieutenant Schmidt. Hold on, please.
Thank you.
Your call is important.
This is going to be good.
It's gonna be good. We're gonna get a voicemail. I've been getting voicemails for literally for 2 years now regarding just the Motel 6 trafficking information. I think Schmidt called me back one time.
Lieutenant Schmidt.
I'll
Lieutenant,
record your message at the tone.
He's full.
When you're finished,
Faked
hang
me
up or
out.
stay on the line for further options.
hey there, Lieutenant Smith. This is Doc Greene, and I'm told that you're in charge of the Human Trafficking Department, and I certainly would like to talk to you about the lack of information on the missing persons page. I mean, you only have 2 names listed there, one picture from a girl that's been found some time ago, and then a name of another girl that's been missing for 7 or 8 years. Yet we've got 838 people that have gone missing in CD4 just in the last 6 months. And if you're in charge of human trafficking, we would like to get some more information on that. My number is 281. Oh, let me give you the 800 number then. Well, now I'm going to give you the regular line number, 281-856-8367, 281-856-8367. Please give me a call, Doc Greene, concerned citizen, and I thank you very much. We are waiting for that call. It is Wednesday. Thank you so much. All right, Amber. Well, I'm optimistic.
Well, so much if you have a tip to call in on human trafficking. Like I said, I think we've called them every week now.
Oh, yeah, we call them, and they never return the call, but it's not like they're public servants and should be expected to call us, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've been waiting for Castro's call with human trafficking since May 25th of 2016 at 8 a.m. was the first time I turned over information regarding human trafficking to Deputy Fallon, the voicemail that we just got. So anyways, I'm looking at the email right now. Had multiple children missing at the time. They all ended up being victims of human trafficking, which what I suspected, anyways, because they were found, like I said, all over the state of Texas, really. But let's see how we ended. We found a child, and it was one of Detective Fallon's cases. Like I said, Dad was almost killed, and we found another one, which was also one of her cases. And so she started sending me a message asking me where I got the photo. Now, this is after she ignored me for 2 days because she did not have the NCIC filed correctly. And these children have been missing for months. I couldn't get police help in other jurisdictions because they couldn't even get a phone call back. So anyways, well, when we finally recovered them, we had to do it ourselves, and I sent her a photo and an email.
Excuse me, sorry about that.
Oh, I thought it was commercial.
Nope.
Anyways, basically, once we recovered these children, I just sent a photo to her and said found safe. Well, anyways, she wanted to respond then immediately after ignoring my calls regarding we needed her help. We just needed her to do her job, which the NCIC file to be, and so we could get other help. Anyways, she goes, oh, where did you find it? I can't find her in the system. I can't locate her in the state of Texas. And I said, it's probably because she's a human trafficking victim, and maybe it's to protect her, confidentiality, that they're not putting her in the main jail system or jail roster. And finally, I just told her, why don't you use those investigating skills and figure out where she's at? I know she's found safe. She was in the custody of Austin PD. But if she would have had an NCIC file done correctly, then they would have contacted her immediately. Ultimately, all they knew were they found a little girl that was a victim of human trafficking, not that she was missing. I mean, so that could have went either way. They could have literally let her back out on the streets right into her pimp's arms. The guy that was abusing her, the guy that had held her in a closet, burning her with cigarettes, this one little girl, and, gang raping her and stuff. So the laws are there for a reason.
Well, they are. Let me hear a piece of this, because Mark Herman did go on another radio station, 740 KTRH, and I don't know what they're discussing, but I'm certain it was something extremely important, so we're going to play a piece of that clip and see what you think.
Have me.
So you haven't been constable for very long. Tell us about your transition.
Well, actually, I've been at Precinct 4 for 30 years.
Long time.
Worked for Dick Moore and also ex-constable Ronnie Hickman. But yeah, I've been appointed constable May the 19th of this year. almost a little over 5 months.
How are you enjoying it so far?
Very well, very well. I mean, we, did not reinvent the wheel when Ron left and stayed with the same group of folks that's brought us, and things are going well.
We haven't improved a damn thing.
Yes, we're growing by leaps and bounds.
That's
Yes.
good. That's good. I know with technology changing so fast, you have to implement a lot of new technology all the time. I'm sure you're buying new equipment, computers, and just
Oh, hell yeah. We're spending money hand over fist over here.
expanding, huh?
Exactly.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when I first got in, we kind of reorganized our command staff. When Ron left, he took 6 of the upper staff folks with him. And so we had to promote from within and kind of retool it.
I'd say thank God for that, but go ahead.
Will, and we decided that we had kind of started to outgrow ourselves. So we stopped taking some of the law enforcement contracts and began ordering. We ordered 82 new patrol cars, which have already started coming in. And,
what are they doing? By just writing you guys tickets in your own neighborhoods that your homeowners associations are paying for.
It's a fundraising organization, and here you nailed something right there, Amber Cammack. As a taxpayer, I pay for police protection. How come I have to, as a homeowner, pay more for police protection?
Yeah.
It's like it's not enough that I pay you to protect me. Now I got to pay you to protect me.
Exactly. I mean, that's what part of your homeowners' dues are. They're making, the constable's office, or Herman's, making thousands upon thousands of dollars. Like, he keeps upping his salary, by the way. He's upped it like 3 times this year since he's become sheriff. But, not sheriff, constable, I'm sorry. Anyways, but yeah, your homeowners association guys are like literally paying these guys for extra protection. And I live in Postwood.
So it's not enough that you get a paycheck already. You got to pay extra if you actually want to be protected where you live.
Exactly.
There's something obscene about that, Amber Cammack.
Well, I pay, I live in Postwood where homeowners, pay, your homeowners dues and our taxes. And I had to call 911 the other day because a guy was trying to attack me. And just randomly at a gas station parking lot right there on the corner of Cypresswood and Treshwick. It took them an hour and a half to get there.
Well, that's because when seconds count, the police are minutes or maybe even hours away.
Yes, and the 911 call, I posted a video. If you go down my Facebook, you'll find it. The 911 call, I'm on the phone. I'm telling the guy, I have a gun and I'll shoot you if you don't back away from my vehicle. The guy was intoxicated, acting just, a belligerent idiot. But bottom line is they hear gun, they hear, shooting, a guy screaming and yelling, cussing me, telling me he's going to beat the hell out of me for looking at him wrong. Yet it takes them an hour. I think they probably just wanted me dead. They probably heard Amber Cammack.
Well, they said, Amber Cammack, you're on the list, Amber Cammack.
Exactly, on on that list, But thank God I carry, thank God, I have to, honestly.
No woman should ever leave her house without her weapon. Not ever.
Amen to that. And,
hey, I got to hit this break, Amber. I want to come back, and we're going to talk some more about Mark Herman. And we're still waiting for that call, by the way. So we'll be right back on the Doc Greene Show.
The amazing Doc Greene Show is on the air. Is in.
Oh yeah, we're back with Amber Cammack, and I got Mark Herman. Mark Herman did an interview.
Don't have Mark Herman. He's still kind of MIA.
Well, yeah. Well, I got Mark Herman right here on YouTube because he did an interview with a quote real news station, and let's finish this up here with Mark Herman.
About $100,000 worth of computer equipment for those cars and offices.
So those cars are equipped with computer systems on board, right?
Yes,
You don't take your computer in and out of the car. It's all on board. So I would think that technology changes pretty quickly and it outdates pretty fast.
It does. And we've got 4 guys assigned to our tech service division. They are constantly doing updates on the cars. And
what was that, Amber? I couldn't quite hear.
I said, haven't the computers been installed in like police cars and they don't come out for like 20 years now? At least 15, I know that.
Well, they got to get new computers.
Well, what are they putting in the computers minus tickets? I mean, I have yet to see a missing persons
Well,
case.
that's so that you can immediately run somebody's driver's license and find out if they got any wants or warrants, or if they're
or write a ticket,
or if they're Amber Cammack.
Or the Amber Cammack, exactly. I mean, because honestly, guys, the only police assistance we have, I mean, if you're in Precinct 4 area and you have a good experience with Mark Herman, I would love to hear it. Humble me, please.
Yeah, we should do that on a show.
Like proactive policing. I mean, if you've seen something, minus them writing you a ticket and smiling and saying hi, or just sitting in the Motel 6 parking lot watching drug dealers. I mean,
there's no drug dealers in precinct in Constable District 4. Come on, Amber.
Yeah, well, no, they sit there and watch them. I sat there one day behind a cop and went and had to knock on his window, and I asked him, "Can you please just tell me what you do? I just watched 3 drug deals go on, and you're closer than I am."
He said, "Right, hey, I'm watching Netflix in my car."
Well,
okay,
I told him
I paid for this.
If you're watching Netflix or whatever, just tell me what is it that you do. And he goes, "Well, I have to have probable cause." I said, "Seeing an exchange of baggies and money, like literally within 50 feet of your car, something your dash cam probably
He was
caught."
delivering his lunch. So that wasn't money. That was Cheerios.
He was watching, trying to make sure no one else was watching. These guys deal drugs. That's the only excuse for it. I mean, like, he's protecting them.
Well, I want to play the rest of this very serious interview with Mark Herman.
Which have already started coming in, and right at, I believe, about $100,000 worth of computer equipment for those cars and offices.
So those cars are equipped with computer systems on board, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't take your computer in and out of the car. It's all on board. So I would think that technology changes pretty quickly, and it outdates pretty fast.
It does, and we've got 4 guys assigned to our tech service
They've been running off the
division.
same
They are
system
constantly doing updates on the cars, and very, very fast paced.
That's good. Well, from a national perspective, there's a lot of negativity about police in the national news. And I know here in Texas, it seems like we have a different feel in Texas. I know everybody that I know really supports police here in Texas. And so we have this national news issue going on, but yet I don't feel it here in Texas. Do you think so? Do you think that Texas is a little different than the rest of the country?
Well, I don't know that we're different. I can tell you that we here in Precinct 4 have not experienced that. Precinct 4 Constable's Office, we are derived from the communities we serve. And, 30 years ago, I think we had 30 employees. And today we're knocking at the door of about right at 500.
Yeah, you guys have really grown.
We have grown, but we've grown because of the people we serve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the suburbs have grown so much in the last 20, 30 years. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I believe like every year there's like 40,000 new people coming to the Precinct 4 area.
Yeah.
Now, the question was asked, who is this bimbo? And that is Shannon Register, and she's the real estate person over at KTRH, a real news station.
Well, you know what? She mentioned an important thing that, we're not filling it in Texas. No, she's blinded. She's purposely turning a blind eye because there's a lot of us filling this in Texas, and especially in Precinct 4 area. He mentions his fast cars, Mark Herman. You mentioned your fast cars. What about Chris Stiegler's life? What about Justin Schaefer's life? These are 2 children, that fell victim to human trafficking, that were murdered. I mean, what about Allie Lowitzer's life? That,
Well, now they do have Allie Lowitzer's name.
They had her name, but they lost. Precinct 4 Constable's Office is the one that lost evidence. All the evidence, like videotape surveillance, that would have brought her home.
Mm-hmm.
What about the little girl I dealt with last week? Excuse my language, guys, but it's
this is ship, like as in a boat.
Ship.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, come on, these kids are being like, these are like a 13-year-old. Like, I mean, have you ever talked to a 13-year-old rape victim that was made to stick a heroin needle in her arm? Yeah,
no,
like that 47-year-old perpetrator that told me literally, quote unquote, I will give you that little bitch back. Threw her out in a ditch on the side of McDonald's. I got that on recording, him telling me this. Yet he's still walking the streets. He is still up there at Motel 6. He is still preying on our kids.
Well, I was up at 1960 and 45, and I recall running into a woman with 2 children, and somebody was chasing her, and she was trying to escape. She was probably an illegal alien, but I did talk to the guy that was trying to recapture her, and he insisted she was just crazy.
You know,
And,
you can. I've seen a lot of that right there. I've lived out here for 4 years, and it was a real eye-opening. And I kind of get like choked up talking about it because I've had too many kids. Their lives run. But you know, one day I was right there at 1960 and 45. I see a little blonde girl. All of a sudden, she climbs out a window. It's nighttime. And starts sprinting across the parking lot. I mean, this girl could run. And then I see 3 big, huge black males get out, and they are chasing her. So I'm sitting here by myself at 11:30 at night. All I have is a little 380 pistol on me, a little pink 380, but I'm like, okay, I've got one clip. I load it, and so I go and drive towards her. Because like I said, this girl was running, and these guys were looking for her. Well, I finally find her, and I tell her to run because she's hiding behind a dumpster. And I told her to, you know, come get in my car. Anyways, these guys start coming at us, and I ended up having to pull my pistol once again. I'm yelling for security. Of course, he goes the other way.
Well, usually, you know, the fact that if you would present your weapon, that would usually cause most bad guys to decide to do something else.
They stood there, and then it took Harris County Sheriff's Department about 45 minutes. So they were gone. I mean, they stood there and looked at me, you know, basically saying they weren't scared, which, I mean, they really weren't that scared because it was a pink pistol. It really didn't look that real, but it was very real. They went ahead and took off the other way, but so did the girl, and I was never able to get her, but I saw a missing persons flyer several days later, and we believed that it was her. Anyways, just from what I did see, like I said, there's not many people that could run as fast as I
gotta
could.
hope she escaped. I do.
They ended up finding her 6 months later. She was a trafficking victim. I could have told you that by looking at her, and she was from West Texas. She wasn't even
find her
from
alive?
Houston. Yes, she was alive, but you know, she's. I haven't got an update, and this is a couple years ago. I haven't got an update, you know, recently, but last I heard, it's like she was still struggling in inpatient rehab.
Well, let me play another piece of this very serious KTRH interview with Mark Herman, because I've asked Mark to come on the show, and he obviously does radio interviews, and Shannon Register is the one who's asking the hard questions here.
Yeah, how fast his cars are. Is that what he's talking about? I mean, obviously they don't respond to 911 calls. I mean,
well, it's more like how much money they spend on their cars.
Yeah, exactly.
They're nice cars.
A lot of people you serve.
We do.
So a lot of your officers work directly in communities, in neighborhoods, in the same neighborhoods year after year. Is that right? They don't move around to
in my
different
neighborhood.
locations?
Yeah, that's correct. We have.
I can tell you why they're not in your neighborhood. You guys are not paying additional protection money.
No, we are. That's the whole thing. Is one of our neighborhoods one of the biggest ones that pay him. No, they're in there. They just don't ever like. They're not policing.
Oh, they don't show up.
They just write us tickets. That's their policing, is writing tickets.
Well, I got to give kudos to my private deputy here that we pay in my neighborhood. The other day when I blew a stop sign, he was parked around the corner. He saw me blow it. He only gave me a warning.
Well, it's like, why are we paying people in our neighborhoods to write us tickets? But go ahead and put little dummy back on.
Some officers that have been in these same subdivisions or MUDs for 20 to 30 years. They've seen the kids at the bus stops, and now they see them grown up and married and have forged very good relationships.
Yeah, that's really neat. You know, I think that's really puts a sense of trust in the officers because people feel like they know them. They can talk to them and approach them very easily. I think that's a good thing that helps solve crimes, don't you think?
Certainly, yeah. I mean,
okay, I got to pause it on this. Okay, this is like, my blood is boiling right now. I mean, it's not, my heart's sad because this is the guy we elected in, and he's sitting up there flat out lying. I don't know if you guys realize it or not, but I haven't, minus writing tickets, I've seen their presence parked on every single corner, but I have not had any proactive police work, and Allie Lowitzer's family definitely didn't. They lost all the evidence in her case.
Lost the evidence.
Yes,
they had the evidence.
Videotape surveillance that would have showed who got her 7 years ago. 13-year-old Naomi Nash, rape victim. Had to stick a heroin needle in her arm. I mean, she would have loved that police help. Her 15-year-old sister who went missing with her, also trafficking victim. Her parents would have loved that police help. I mean, like I said, Star Hamilton, their family, they're still waiting for that police help. Chris Stiegler, Precinct 4.
Now, I think you need to give Mark Herman the benefit of the doubt. Now, let's finish this interview because this is with a real news station. This is KTRH, guys. This is a real news station.
That's perception.
Policing is at times can get difficult, but what makes it so successful for us are the people we serve because that relationship we have.
Yeah, that's really neat. I like that. All right. So what makes the constable's office, Precinct 4, different from the sheriff's office?
Well, again, I don't know that we're different.
Should be.
I know nothing else other than Precinct 4. That's where I've been since I was, 22 years old. But we do work close with the sheriff's office, the ISD police. We have several of our guys. One of our guys are embedded with.
When I was a kid, we didn't need police at the school.
Well, he's throwing over the kid. There's kids going missing from the schools, and he's allowing the ISD police to handle these missing cases. And these guys have literally never been trained to put in an NCIC file. They were like, basically, I mean, how big of a conflict of interest is it? The school that loses the child then investigates the case.
Yeah, they already lost the kid.
That's not a conflict of interest or anything. I mean,
but I still think it's ridiculous we've allowed society to deteriorate to the point where we have to have a police department at the school.
Well, exactly. I mean, why do we have to have police writing us tickets on every corner either? Why did they take an hour to respond to the 911 call the other day? Why did they take, from
a female who says I'm being attacked?
And it was like 2:00 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, and like, trust me, there was not that many people out on the streets. It was a weeknight. I'm the only goofball out at 2:30 in the morning, along with a bunch of. I was just running to the corner store.
Oh, I was going to say it might have been an occupational hazard.
I saw a constable, and as I'm on the phone with dispatch, they go the opposite way. I'll have to show that video one time. I mean, the video is on my Facebook, but they literally go the other way. Like, I saw the constable. Anyways, but the guy said he had to come from Humble, ultimately, as if there's not plenty of police parked all down Cypress Wood. But maybe they're not allowed to speak with me.
Frank said, how did campus police become human trafficking investigators?
Well, that's the point, is they're not. I mean, our police aren't human trafficking investigators.
He also said chicks love fast cars. This interview sounds more like a dating show.
Well, it's like, what point, honestly? Oh, they have computers that don't come out of their car.
Yeah,
the police have been using the same system since like '96. They've improved it, like speed and memory in their computer.
Hey, if you guys know Mark Herman, tell him that we're talking about him on here. We'd love to have him come on and set us straight.
The FBI, we work different task forces with them. I don't know that we're different. I really don't. I mean, we just have a different department, so to speak.
So when someone decides they want to go into law enforcement and they grew up in this area, how would they choose? How would they know whether they want to go into the sheriff's department or the constable's office? How would they? Or is it the same? It's different training programs, right?
Well, no. I mean, it's basically you have to go get your take your state exam and go through an academy.
Okay.
We have a lot of the folks that live out here in the community that are now working with us.
The academy's 9 months of law
and I'm sure the sheriff's office does too. But it's all about choice. I mean, if you want to go work at the sheriff's office, they do so, and they want to work with us or DPS or HPD.
Okay, so same training, and then you choose where there's a vacancy and where you want to work.
I've got to clarify something. He's saying the same training. HPD Academy and the constables, for example, are totally different. HPD has a very awesome, pretty up to par academy. Constables, you barely have to have I think you have to like be at college level, like take this little test. They claim college level, which is really 8th grade level. And you get 9.5 months, maybe not even that, of training. So yeah, no, not the same training in the least. The academies are two completely different academies. You have to have college credits to go into one and not the other. So, yeah. Anyways, I just taught Mark Herman something.
Well, I would hope so. But, Mark Herman said, I don't know if we're different.
No, don't know if you're different.
The constable's office has an entirely, or at least used to have an entirely different mission than the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office being a constitutional law office, and the constable's office being a construct primarily to deliver subpoenas and stuff like that. That was the original intent anyway.
Well, that's what they're supposed to do, and maybe assist the sheriff's office when they need it on major crimes investigations. The thing is Herman doesn't know what he's doing. He's not turning over major crimes like he's supposed to. His dispatch is not even up to par. I mean, try to call like dispatch 911 one day and see how precinct 4 their dispatch, if you speak
well, I
to
don't
them.
think I want to do that. You already told me it was over an hour.
Yes, and then she tried to let me go when a guy is like screaming and yelling. She can hear him in the background that he was going to whoop my ass, okay? And this is a female. And I'm like, you know, and I'm talking, hey, I have a gun, you need to stay away from my vehicle, get away. He hits the side of my car, and she goes, okay, well, I'll let you go, I'll see when a cop gets there. And I'm like, no, you're gonna stay on the phone with me so you can record some of this. I don't know what he's going to do. Like, but that's like not...
That was the Precinct 4's Constable's Office dispatch.
Yes. So it just kind of goes to show, like, from front to back, it's like they don't have training. That woman didn't even have common sense. I'm sorry. It's like that wasn't even common sense, you know, and then much less a dispatch. I mean, there's an art to that. There is definitely education that goes behind being a dispatcher.
Well, I'd love to play the rest of this interview, but we're not going to. I mean, as you can see, it was very insightful and hard-hitting questions there. I've got a question. We had a situation where we had a gentleman that called here on the show, and he had custody of his daughter. His custody was taken away by a judge and given to the grandmother, who had already previously been involved with that child in an injury to the child case where the child's legs were broken. And I'm trying to remember the name of the judge.
Judge Durst.
Judge Durst, yes, out of Dallas, yeah.
Yes, I invited him on the show actually because he heard it was the week before last, he heard the show. He was squirming, but ultimately they reversed those backdoor orders and he stepped down, and the family is in California getting their child back. CPS apprehended the child.
That's almost like kidnapping, transporting a child across state lines when you don't really have legal custody.
Well, it is kidnapping, and now Judge Durst is looking at getting her on felony parental kidnapping because he's claiming that it was a temporary order, good for 14 days, and she claimed that she was not leaving the Dallas area where she was, or the address. And he claimed he specifically told her he couldn't leave the state, blah, blah, blah. And she obviously tried to hide the child. That makes it a felony, you know, so anyways, hopefully...
But Judge Durst stepped down after that.
Yes, now it's going to some Judge Murray, but he wouldn't step down, he wouldn't recuse himself before, and this order was an order done in, like, literally a backdoor order, like, there was no court date. The dad was never served, and this woman had an abuse history a mile long, so... I mean, I had an attorney call, you know, the attorney handling the case, and he said he knew this judge personally. And he said he's really not a bad guy. And I told him, you know, this is why we don't do backdoor orders, because you'll put a child's life in danger.
Based on 2 reviews on the internet, he's got a 1 star.
well, exactly. I mean, he put this little girl's life in danger, and you know, like I told the attorney, I said, listen, I get we're all human, but I'm not in the position handling kids' lives. You said you couldn't get through to them. I had to get him a message, and we did, but on, like, he's dealing with, like, real kids' lives, and you know, he can come on the show and, you know, speak his side of it, but there's no justification of it.
Well, we wanted to bring him on. Now, did he step down from his judicial position, or recuse himself from this case?
Recused himself from this case, but it's like, all I can say is maybe next time he'll think before he writes one of these orders, and if there's another Judge Durst order like that, I know he's a listener now, and I'd love to have you come on the show, too.
Well, you know, look, I want to be fair to him. I got to tell you this review here. It said, Judge Durst's court is a joke, a waste of taxpayer money. He should be fired. Get someone in that court who is going to protect my children. My stepchildren have never done without because I always stepped up. But apparently had his children taken away and given to his ex.
What was happening with Gracie Homan, that the 3-year-old, you know, that's not excusable. That should have been grounds for automatic termination. I would think. I mean, he violated all of their constitutional rights, put a child's life in danger, and, you know, and he's just sitting there up on the bench still dealing with children's lives. I mean, I wouldn't want him dealing with my child's life. That's all I've got to say. I mean, these people are like documented drug users, and I could talk to him for 2 seconds probably and tell the grandmother and stuff. So, yeah. I mean, he's obviously a bad judging character if that was his friend anyways. Mm-hmm. You know, like, really, he had a friend. I mean, it's not the kind of company I keep, Judge Durst.
Yeah, this guy said, this judge should be booted from the bench. My ex-wife owed her over $35,000 in back child support. He made a judgment against her for $15,000. Next time I come to court, she still doesn't have insurance on the kids, and I'm still owed over $3,000 in back medical for out-of-pocket expenses. this guy decides he will tack it on to the owed amount.
I wonder what they're doing back there in closed chambers.
I don't know, but he said this judge just allows her to skip all over the courtroom. And the last time I was here in this court, he had the nerve to ask her. He said, "So you don't have insurance on the kids?" She said, "No, sir." He said, "Well, how long?" She said, "Well, they cut my welfare off." And he looks at me and asked if I had insurance through my job. And I said, "Yes, sir, but I can't afford it. That's why I've been paying out of pocket." He said, "Well, figure it out." Next paycheck, I get hit with that. I live paycheck to paycheck. She still isn't paying. And I'm currently in the courtroom again. She's texting me saying, "I need to come and get my kids."
What?
Yeah, because her and her man are going to be thrown out tonight. She's not sure what's going to happen to the car. The judge doesn't see any of this is going on and that he's being played. He said, "I'm in my court. I'm in his court right now. Look me up."
Oh my gosh, good for that dad for speaking out, but once again, like, Judge Durst is obviously a really bad judging character, or he's getting something on the side. I don't know why he's protecting all these bad moms. Like,
well, 2 reviews and 1 star. But look, Judge, anybody can screw up once or twice. You know, I understand that people make mistakes, and if we are mischaracterizing you, please let me know, because we could use a few success stories here.
like I said, I mean, I talked to his personal friend, which was the attorney, and he claimed that Judge Durst wasn't a bad guy, but my gosh, I think I would have to step down from the bench if I pulled a move he did. I mean, this is a kid that's been life-flighted before because of this grandma's abuse and the mom's abuse. So, anyways,
well,
Judge Durst...
I'm glad to know that he recused himself from the case. I guess that's the good news.
Yeah,
there.
I'm just glad to know that Gracie Homan is, she's safe, you know. Welfare, you know, child welfare service in California, they, and the DA actually over there in California, the DA's office, actually acted within hours and were able to locate her. And that's what Dad and her aunt and other grandmother were on their way to California the day before yesterday. They may be on their way back now. I haven't spoke to them. I'm sure they're enjoying Gracie. So, but that was a success story. Like I said, she's safe.
Meet Alcon Daly's Total One.
I was worried about her safety, you know, there for a little bit, but yeah, just another problem in our justice system, family law court.
Well, Amber, thank you for coming into the show today. I mean, yeah, you look tan and rested. Did you have a good time on your vacation?
Oh, I had a blast on my vacation, but I'm kind of taking note now. I don't know. Mark Herman's little interview has just basically left me speechless because he's had children die. And hell, I live in the communities. I've asked for police help for them to talk to me. Like I said, for a year and a half now. May 25th, 2016. I looked at the email.
Well, we got to go, Amber. See you again next week on the Doc Greene Show.
Thanks for having me, Doc.
You just defended yourself with a gun. The police are called and you're potentially involved in a homicide, but it was self-defense. At this point, you are not in your right mind. No one ever is when they are in fear for their life and defend themselves. Anything you say can and will be used in a court of law, both civilly and criminally. Fortunately, you have selfdefensefund.com. We are the National Association for Legal Gun Defense, and we protect our members nationally in all 50 states, up to $1 million per incident per member. Let us do the talking for you and visit selfdefensefund.com. Any weapon, any state, anytime.